Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Post Nerf. I'm Dragma and I'm here with my two co-hosts, Faranox.
Hello. I'm stunned by that amazing intro. That was really good. I didn't know you could do that.
I think we need to do that more often.
And that's Vec.
And that's it, yes.
That was awesome. We need to isolate the audio from that and use it next. God damn it. I'll be back.
Okay.
Timing.
What should we talk about while he's gone?
We should talk about him.
About what? About him?
About him. Yeah.
You start.
He's such a priest. He always loves to wear dresses.
Yeah, well, you're an ex-mage, so you can talk.
I will fight. I fight face to face. I don't fight far away like you.
You're a loser. That's just what I say when I don't really have a comeback. We could talk about what we're playing. What have you been playing?
Well, I have been playing WoW, StarCraft, and Fable.
So basically the same shit you were playing last week.
Except Fable.
But you were playing Fable last week.
What was that? I don't know. I don't even know if I was.
Whatever. Well, that's
But
cool. Anything you want to talk about in terms of that?
I've also been playing Dwarf Fortress. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I saw a little stream that you did for that.
Yeah, it was really... My friend was walking me through it, and I got so confused. Like, apparently, I was being attacked by monkeys, and so I had to use my dwarves to fight them off. But apparently, they're really afraid of the monkeys. So,
I come back to talk of monkeys?
No, the Dwarf Fortress stream.
Oh. What? Wait, so are you guys going to stream that again soon?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Awesome. So were we talking about anything legitimate, or were you just rattling off random information?
I was talking about the game that I've been
playing. Okay. So go on.
So yeah, the game's really complicated to me. I mean, it was all like little pixel things, and my dwarves apparently could die of thirst, but I didn't know how to stop them from doing that. I was attacked by monkeys, and I fought them off courageously. And I wanted to eat my dwarves.
The concept of getting attacked by monkeys is quite amusing.
I wanted to eat my dwarves, but my friend wouldn't let me. So... Or was it the cats? I can't remember. It was either I wanted to eat the dwarves or I wanted my dwarves to eat the cat. It might have been both.
I'll say this again. You are a strange child.
I'm sure I am.
It looks like quite a primitive game. I couldn't quite make out what the hell was actually going on. Though, admittedly, I only watched the stream for about 2 minutes and I had no audio on.
Yeah, that was the thing. We decided that it needed to be up to 720p because you literally could not see anything. But we tested it for about 30 seconds on 720p and it was fine. So the next time that happens, it will be on 720p and everything will be visible. Anyway, so now that I've completely derailed the podcast by returning...
Oh, it's all good.
To you.
I have been playing Pokemon Soul Silver the past week. I fucking love Pokemon, but I'll play a game and then forget about it for a year or two and then go back to it. And I opened up this drawer that I have in a desk that I no longer use and found 2 DS systems sitting in there, a DSi and a DSi XL, and I was looking at them.
Dude, send me one!
And in the DSi XL was my Soul Silver card, which I hadn't played for like a year and a half, and I went, I'm going to plug this into my 3DS and play it, and I did. I started a new file, I've been having a blast with it, and I love it. For anybody who doesn't know, Soul Silver is an enhanced remake of the original Silver, which was a Game Boy Color game.
I used to play that for hours.
Yeah.
Yes, this is an amazing game.
Gold and Silver, in my opinion, are the best of all the Pokemon games that have come out over the years.
Red.
Yeah.
No, Silver's way better.
Old school.
Silver
Old
is
school.
way better.
I like red and blue. I like yellow better than either red
Missing
or blue.
note for the win.
I mean, like, I got into Pokemon when I was a kid. When it first came out, I was into the whole first 151 monsters that you had in red and blue, but I really liked the additional 100 that they added in gold and silver, too. It was after that it got lame.
Oh, yeah.
And I quit playing. But yeah,
I'm confused as to how they made more Pokemon. Like, did like two different Pokemon mate, and then like they made like a new Pokemon thing?
No, the idea is kind of based in reality. There are a lot of species of animals that we don't even know about. It's kind of the same thing there. They just discovered more species.
But they suck. They lost their creativity.
The good thing about it in the end is like Black and White, the newest ones, are completely cut off from the continuity of the other games. There are no old Pokemon in those. It's just new ones.
Which I don't like.
Yeah, but it kind of gives a basis of that.
I feel
idea.
like the legend Pokemon aren't very legendary anymore.
I don't know. I have to admit, Black and White, the ones on the covers, which I'm assuming are the new legendaries, they look pretty cool. They look better than some of the other ones that they've had. I'm actually planning on picking up Black this spring and trying it out. It'll be the first new Pokemon game that I've played, like, since Gold and Silver, if you don't count remakes. I never played Diamond or Pearl. I never played Ruby or Sapphire.
I loved Sapphire. that and Silver I played for like hours.
I never really got a chance to get back into the games until I picked up Soul Silver myself. So.
But yeah, so Soul Silver, it's on the DS. It's basically Silver with better graphics and some added features that they picked up from the newer games. And it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, I like it. And I'm going to pick up Heart Gold, too, so that I can get all of the Pokemon. Something that I've never actually done.
Nice, very nice.
And I'm thinking about getting back into Pokemon Stadium on the N64. Although you can't transfer Pokemon from a DS game, it's got to be a Game Boy or Game Boy Color game. But
yeah, that's the fun part on that.
And I do have all the original Pokemon. I have, red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, so I could use those. But yeah.
Indeed.
So that's what I've been doing. I have not been in WoW at all for quite some time. I only log on to Raid now, basically, and I do my Raid Finder run on Tuesday to try to get my bow. So that's kind of what I've been doing on my spare time.
Oh, another game I've been playing is FIFA 12, and that game is so frustrating to me.
Sports games are boring.
I play career mode, and my virtual pro, he got injured, so he was out for like half the season, and for that whole half season, I didn't want to play the games. Why would I play the games with my virtual pros in it? So I simulated the games, and like my record is so horrible now. So there's like no point in playing the rest of the season because I'm not gonna make it into the playoffs. I'm not gonna make it into the championship. So I'm just like I'm done playing it for right now.
That's awesome. That's quite amusing.
What about you, Ferronox? What have you been up to?
I was waiting. I have been up to nothing, actually. I've done very, very little gaming. I've been playing Minecraft mostly.
Okay.
In preparation for the Let's Play that I'm going to start recording.
Right.
So like, when I put up the poll to find out, I put up a poll on the guild site to let these guys decide what I did on the first night of my Let's Play, and that was to either go ahead and do the whole shit shack thing and either dig myself a hole or build a small building, build a legitimate house 5x5 or 7x7, and or fight my way through the night. So I got on there and actually did fight my way through the first night at least once. I ended up dying, but I only died once during the first night, so I can be happy enough about that. And then I go back to the poll and find out that the majority vote is for me to actually build a house. So I'm like, well, crap. And started practicing that, trying to get a decent house up on the first night, which is really easy to do if you're in a forest. if you spawn,
build a
if you
house.
spawn 500 blocks from any trees, there is an issue.
Who would vote to build a house instead of just fighting until dawn? That's just.
I know, right? So it's probably you. You were
I
probably involved in
voted.
that.
I voted to fight a.
So you're the
fight,
only
so-
one who did.
Yeah,
You're the
I'm
only
the
one
only
who
one.
did. You're the minority.
I will confess, I voted to build a house. It was really difficult for me to decide, but building is my favorite part of the game. So I thought,
that's
yeah.
like the only part of the game.
No, it isn't.
well, obviously not.
I
since the
did.
choice is between
Unfortunately,
building
I got
or
on
fighting.
there. I did unfortunately find something that is kind of depressing, and kind of absolves Dragma from breaking the Ender portal.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We can't go to the end on the server. It glitches out like the Nether does, so
Oh.
that's no fun. We have a really cheap server that we play on that I will not be providing any information for ever, outside of guildies and close friends. But we officially have ruled out ever being able to go to the Nether or the end on this server. So
So you just decided, blow up our portal.
I fucked it by accident.
no. Actually, I gave Dragma an Eye of Ender because I found it and built the Nether Cathedral on top of it, where I was going to spawn a whole bunch of monsters, and took Dragma there, handed him an Eye of Ender to act the last one we needed to activate the portal, and I said, "Okay, so put that in," and he breaks it.
You dude.
And I'm like, dude, really? There's no way we can fix that. Thankfully, my friend last night gave me the item code to spawn the Ender block, the portal blocks. But we now know that while there's a chance you can actually get to the end, you can't damage the dragon.
That sucks.
We cannot do the excess worlds on the servers that are hosting us, and for that reason, I'm not actually saying what place is hosting our server, because that would definitely be bad press. But we can deal with that. But yeah, so for the most part, I've just been playing around on Minecraft and trying to make sure I'm going to be decently competent when I start recording.
Right. Okay, so
I'm trying to think. I think. Yeah, I turned in one quest on Borderlands. That's pretty much it.
Oh.
Yeah. I have been considering hooking up my Super Nintendo again and playing some Super Mario World.
Cool. Love Super Mario World.
That's as far as that's gotten. I should do some streaming this week, but I really should be applying for jobs. But yeah.
Okay, so that concludes our what we've been playing. Next, we have gaming news of the week.
Which I think I made a nice little step towards improving my involvement on this. I'm pretty sure Vec's still on the hole on this. But I actually went to the talking points and Googled everything, so I'm ready.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, there's not a lot of news from this week. It's been a pretty boring week for news, but we still have news to catch up on from the last couple of weeks that we haven't gotten to, so that's basically what we're looking at here. The first item on the list is there's a rumor circulating, which is apparently from fairly credible sources, that the Xbox 720... which is just what we're calling it because we don't know what it's going to be called, is going to lock out used games. And there's actually an article on IGN where a developer from Volition who worked on Saints Row talks about why it's good that the Xbox 720 is going to lock out used games. Now, my personal opinion on the matter is video games are no different from CDs or movies. And I think that even though it's true that technically you're only buying a license to play the game, the disc that is given to you is still your property, and you should be able to sell it if you want to. And people should be able to buy used games just like they can buy used CDs and used DVDs and used Blu-rays if they can't afford to buy something new. This is something that is designed to fuck consumers right up the ass, if I'm going to be so crude. And honest to God, if they do this, I can pretty much guarantee that their next console will be a commercial failure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Now I ended up finding it on Industry Games and Industry Gamers, but it covers pretty much the same thing. He does mention the concept of a rental class of DVD of games,
right?
Specifically made for renting, where you would buy where you would work with the rental service to buy a timed license,
right?
And then the disc would, be encoded with that license, and you'd only get to play it up to that time. But I'm sorry, I shoved a piece of pizza in my mouth before talking about this.
Hold on, Pete.
Uh-huh.
You.
But yeah, it's really not a good idea. I mean, now this is... It's really, really, really a poor concept. The only way this could go over, and I'm actually stealing concepts from the pirating discussion over on the first episode of the TGS podcast. The only way they could actually make this a viable option is if they provided a better service than you can get from just going to eBay and selling your games. Like if they had a refurbishing service, like you play the game, you're done with it, you don't want to keep it, they offer you, I don't know, 90% of the sale back.
Right.
You know what? That would work. Because then you have a reason to return it to the developer, get your money back, and then they just count it as refurbished and resell it for the original price. Or something like that.
Yeah,
that could be done.
And then that would solve their whole issue that they have with, GameStop making millions off of the used market, and they don't get any kind of, money for that, which is, why they're bitching about it and why they want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So that would solve that problem completely. Essentially what it would do is it would shift all that money from the used market from retailers to the developers, which would be okay. But I still think it just generally to me makes more sense to leave things the way they are. I mean, it's not like any of these companies are going bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just kind of bitching and moaning and being greedy, and I am not too keen on it.
Well, I mean, in the end, it's not that big of a deal. The only people who really lose money from used games is the people who are releasing the high-dollar AAA content. We lose more indie developers to pirating than they lose money to used games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, granted, they probably do lose a good bit of money on this. If they could come up with a system that was good for everyone, that could actually make them recoup that cost, that's fine.
Well, I'll tell you...
I mean, the only real option is to, universally ban used games or something.
I'll tell you one thing. Me personally, as a consumer, and somebody who spends probably thousands of dollars a year on video games, the difference in price between a new game and a used game does not really matter to me. Like, at least up here in Canada, if you walk into GameStop, you're lucky if you can get $10 off buying a used game. And a lot of times it's more like $5. To me, that's not worth it to buy a used game, especially since
since you sell it to them for so much less.
Yes.
You sell them for like $6.
Yeah. Now, granted, most of it does range with the popular. Like, you will get more money if the game is actually popular. But who wants to trade in a popular game? You're probably still playing the popular game.
Yeah, see, I hoard all my games, so I don't actually sell any. But when I'm buying games, I do prefer to buy them new because I like to buy stuff new, and I don't save that much money if I buy it used. And the other incentive, at least with Nintendo games, and when you're buying first and second party Nintendo games, you get a code which you punch into your Club Nintendo account, and you earn coins for it, and then you spend those coins and get really neat shit. And you don't get that if you buy it used. So if every company
Mostly because
did that,
they've already taken it out and used it themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So if every company did that, there'd at least be that incentive, because I know that's a major one for me when I buy Nintendo games. Buy them new, because I like my free shit. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think it really does follow the lines of create a better service, I think. If they could do that, then it would be a viable thing, and the developers would be able to make that money back. They are making a loss on this, but it's not something that will be popular if they just ban it on the console. Guarantee the 720 will not sell that well if they do that.
Yeah. Well,
at least not after the fact.
Assuming that their competitors don't do the same thing, which I don't think Nintendo would ever do that. And Sony, I don't know. But so, anything you want to add, Vec, on that?
Nope. I don't really care about Xbox or anything.
Good on you.
So you don't care about this? Okay, whatever. That's fine.
No.
I don't know.
I don't actually really care about Xbox either. I have one. I have maybe 6 games for it. Never use it. It's a piece of shit.
The only
Well,
game I ever played.
Let me say it like this. Veg. How many used games do you buy?
I don't buy any used games. I buy all of my games new because I usually get them on release. So I get
Okay,
like
so
FIFA
this
12,
really does have
and
nothing to do with you then.
NHL. FIFA and NHL are like the only 2 games I play. So.
Whereas if it were someone like me, I don't have any of the new systems right now. If I decided one day to actually go get them and get all the games I missed, if this were already enacted, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would have missed out on all of these games.
Yeah.
And so that kind of does put a downside on things. The challenge here would be, and I just thought about this because I brought this up. The challenge here would be that they would have to constantly release these games until their lifespan is actually depleted. And a video game's lifespan, if it's good, could go on for 50 years. I mean, I guarantee there are still people trying to get original copies of Super Mario Brothers.
You better believe there are. There's a huge market for that.
So, on that note, I don't think it'd probably be... I'd seriously doubt it would be cost effective. Unless they did something where you order the game, they code it to the disc, and then send it to you. But I don't think it would be cost effective.
What it ultimately comes down to, and this is a controversial statement, but I don't care because I'm a controversial person. What it comes down to is they're pissed off that they're making a game and only making $60 off of that game, and then it goes out there and changes hands 10 or 20 times and makes another $60 or $50 every time it passes hands, and that's money that they think they should get. Right? That's what it comes down to.
And who's to say they shouldn't? But don't get butthurt over it. There's really no point. You'll lose more buyers if they know that you're just being a little dickwad about this than if you just legitimately made the games that people enjoy to play.
Well, like I say, it's just like CDs and DVDs. Like, I've heard a lot of people make comparisons to cars, and that doesn't really work because when you buy a car, you actually own it outright. Whereas when you buy a game or you buy a CD or you buy a DVD, you're buying the right to use it. You're not buying the actual product, right? So it's a little bit different, but it's the same definitely as with CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, and you don't hear anybody in the music or movie business bitching about the used CD market or the used movie market. They do bitch about, like you say, piracy, which is a much bigger issue and where they should be focusing their resources on trying to prevent that.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say here, I don't want to really discuss the piracy issue anymore because that's going to end up leading us to talking about SOPA, and I really don't want to talk about SOPA. So let's avoid that, shall we?
I think SOPA is good.
Shut up, back. Shut up, back. You didn't hear that? Doomhamers Legacy does not endorse SOPA in any way, form, or fashion. Next topic, please.
The next topic, I'll kind of combine all three of them into one. It concerns Nintendo and the Wii U, which is their new console that's coming out later this year.
Wii U, Wii U, Wii U.
First of all, the name is shit, and Nintendo has acknowledged this, and they are considering changing it. We don't know what they might change it to, or if they even will. But let's hope they do, because it fucking sucks. The Wii was a shitty name in the first place, but see, here's the rub with that. They come up with this shitty name for the Wii, and the console sells really well, and now they have an issue with branding, because if you're going to release a successor to the console, as we've seen with the PlayStation and the Xbox and the Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64, if you keep that name in successive products, then you have, what is the proper term for this? There is a proper marketing term for it that is like on the tip of my tongue.
I wouldn't know.
Shit. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I have a friend in marketing class. If I text him, I can probably figure out the word before you can think of it.
Probably not. But while you're trying to think of the word, let me say this. Not to steal something once again from the TGS podcast, but no, the Wii was not a good name. It never was a good name, and that's not really how it sold. It sold because of the concept, I think, but like the TGS content that I'm stealing yet again, and I'll try not to do this again. Hello, Antius, welcome.
No.
Is Total Biscuit at the time of the release of the Wii was actually working in a game store, and people literally walked into the store and did everything they could not to say, "Can I buy a Wii?"
Yeah.
They did not want to use that word.
Yeah. It sounds just really stupid.
Wee!
I think there was literally a worldwide outcry when we heard that they changed the name of the console from the Revolution to the Wii.
Revolution was a lot better.
Revolution was a lot better. It never really was the official name of it.
Yeah, it was just the code name.
But it was definitely a better name than the Wii, and I'm very happy to hear that they're thinking about changing from the name of the Wii U.
The term that I was thinking of, I still haven't thought of, but essentially it's brand familiarity, and products sell better when people buy a product and then they like it, and a new one comes out that has the same brand. They go, oh, I have the old version of that, I'm going to buy the new version because it's probably good too. That's essentially what we're talking about here. So once you have a successful product like the Wii, it might have a shitty name, but it did sell well. People know the name. It's a household name. I mean, there's all kinds of people that never played games, millions of people that never played games that bought a Wii and have played it and like it.
And this is true. The problem being that most of those people aren't the majority of the gaming community. And granted, they are part of the gaming community. I'm not going to discount them.
Well,
but that was the thing. The Wii has such a negative connotation to it because of how it ended up going through. It sold a ton and then just died off.
Okay, two things there. One, what we have now is we have a segregation of the market. We had a new market emerge, basically, of what we're calling casual gamers. And the hardcore gamers have been alienated by Nintendo since the N64, right? And the Wii, the GameCube, neither of those consoles have done a lot to repair the relationship that Nintendo once had with its hardcore audience. And I think that by the time they were about to release the Wii, they thought, there's not a whole lot that we can do at this point to get that old audience back, because all the third-party publishers are on competing platforms now. So they decided to try something new and get a new audience. And that's what they've done. And now what they're trying to do, according to them, is go back to the hardcore side. And I think, and they haven't said this publicly, but I think what their agenda was to, well, I guess they kind of have said it publicly. Their agenda was to take people who weren't gamers and turn them into gamers. And they did that by coaxing them in with these casual games. And now the Wii U is supposedly a more hardcore system, so they're kind of turning these people now into hardcore gamers, if that makes any sense. But in order for that to work, it will have the most effect if the console has the word Wii in it. Calling it Wii U, I think, was really fucking stupid. They could have called it Wii 2, they could have called it Wii HD, they could have called it Super Wii. Yeah, like something better.
Wii. Oh god.
Super Wii!
I guess Super Wii would be kind of dumb, but you know what I mean. Wii U is just weird. And obviously Wii was weird to start with.
It sounds like an alarm.
Wii was a weird name to start with, but you can't argue with the success that they did have. I mean, the ads that they had when that console first came out were amazing. The Wii Would Like to Play ads. Those were some of the best video game ads I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
That was genius marketing there. The name we might not like, but it did work in that sense.
But so I am kind of getting what they did create a new market.
Yes.
And so now they're going to capitalize on that and kind of try to further it by turning these people who are just getting into video games, just kind of scratching the surface, and kind of moving them into the medium range gaming.
Yeah.
And if they kept the Wii name, yeah, I could see that actually happening. I could see them following the line from the Wii to the Wii U into that. Granted, it might not be successful very much. They might say, "Oh, well, this game is fun, but I prefer this." But there's a chance. There's a good, decent chance there.
And Nintendo is a very smart company. They've been around for a long time. They're the longest standing company in the video game business right now. I mean, when they started making games, there had just been a crash in the video game market, which they were responsible for fixing the entire industry. People were alienated by video games in North America. So, I mean, they created a console that looked like a VCR, called it the Nintendo Entertainment System, so that it was completely different from the older games and was more familiar to consumers in this part of the world as something that they could put next to their TV, and it worked. And the Super NES was, it continued on the same brand, the same kind of style of product, but was higher tech, and it did the best of its generation too. It was just when they refused to move to disc medium, that's what fucked them up with the N64. That is when Nintendo went downhill and lost.
When they refused to move to disc medium, they created their biggest competitor.
Yes.
Sony.
Yeah.
Sony was... I mean, the Super Nintendo was supposed to have a disc component.
Yes, they were going to release an add-on for it, similar to the Sega CD, which was being developed by Sony.
And that's what it was going to be. That's what was going to happen. But then they backed out on it, and Sony made the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Sony just went with what they'd already made for this company, and just went with it. We would not have the PS3 if Nintendo hadn't said, "Well, just forget about this. We're not going to do this."
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of a good point and a bad point. Good for us, bad for Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fantastic games have come out as a result of that. The PlayStation, I think, has possibly the best game library of any console that's ever come out. Definitely does on the RPG end of things, and who knows what would have happened if things went differently. I mean, we could be living in a better world, we could be living in a worse world, we'll never know, but...
We could be living in a world where Final Fantasy still came out on Nintendo products.
We would be living in a world where Final Fantasy still came out on Nintendo products, that is for sure. That is certain. Because the only reason why they switched to the PlayStation is because they wanted high-quality cutscenes, which can't be done on cartridges. They have to be done on discs. So,
and damn is Square good at cutscenes.
Yes. But yeah, so it's kind of like almost history repeating itself. The industry has not crashed by any means, but it's definitely changing, and the future is kind of riddled with uncertainty at this point, and Nintendo is trying something bold and different, and it may end up being a huge success. We'll have to see. So, yeah, they're considering renaming it. The Wii U controller is supposed to feature NFC, which is...
which I read a little bit about, but I can't quite understand.
Yeah, it's... NFC stands for Near Field Communication, which is basically kind of similar to Wi-Fi, except it's very, very low range. And I don't really understand what they think the real benefit is to using this. I know that supposedly the controller is capable of streaming games played on the Wii U in real time to the screen that's actually on the controller. God damn it. So, in theory, you can actually play a game on the Wii U on the controller without having the TV on. Or you can have someone watching a show on the TV while you're playing the Wii U, which is one of the coolest features I've ever heard for a console personally, because I am often in a situation where somebody is watching the TV in the living room. I want to be on the big screen HD TV playing my games, but somebody's using it. And I guess you can't be on the big screen HD TV with this feature. You're watching it on the little screen. But still, if you're in a house where you don't have your own TV in your room or whatever, this solves that issue. You can play your games.
This also brings up an interesting concept, though. If they keep the Netflix utility for the Wii.
Yeah, then you can watch Netflix on the tablet as well. While somebody is doing something else on the TV.
That would be cool. Yeah. But this is definitely the major selling point for the Wii U. And, if that's... What it's saying, what I found is, what it's saying is that this is like... This way you can, interact with cards or figurines that have data on them that might change the game. Like, take the Spyro Skylanders game they have right now. You have to have this little pedestal and collect the figurines to actually put the characters in the game and play them.
Right.
If they had waited on that game and used this technology, you could literally just have a shelf full of these figurines. The remote would pick them up and say, okay, which one do you want to use? Is basically what I'm thinking this means.
Yeah, I think that is the gist of it, but I'll be honest, I am not a fan of peripherals and stuff like that. I think they're really just dust collectors. So, and the Wii has been...
But it's definitely a cool concept.
I guess, but I mean, the Wii has been the worst console in history for peripherals. There are so many piece of shit plastic fucking waste of money dust collectors that have been released for this console. And
Dragma, remind me to tell you of some this horrible thing that I can't talk about with minors in the channel later. It has to do with the Wii.
Okay.
I'm curious now.
I'm afraid.
But no, this concept brings interesting things to mind. Like, consider back in the days of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Woo! Yu-Gi-Oh!
The whole concept of the show was that these cards were used with, technology to actually make it slightly more realistic. You'd actually see the monsters in 3D. That same kind of concept would possibly be available for this. You have the cards, you have your deck built, you set it somewhere near you, next to the Wii or next to the tablet, and you have your deck in the game. And all it would take is a tiny microchip in the card.
I would love that
You know, that
so much.
that would be cool. Like, I remember back when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And you could buy the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, and you could enter the cards into the game, but you'd have to punch out this long code that was on the card. And that really sucked, and you would have to do that for your entire deck if you wanted your exact deck to be in the game, and it would take forever. So if they did something like that for a game like that, that would definitely be really cool.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. I mean, imagine this. Like, Magic the Gathering is an amazing, widespread thing now.
Mm-hmm.
All they would have to do is release the new decks with these chips. You immediately have Magic the Gathering tournaments going on through your Wii.
That would be cool.
Oh, that would be
Over Wi-Fi. That would be amazing.
That would, yeah.
Some interesting concepts there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I definitely say that this this NFC functionality definitely sounds like an amazing concept, and if they do it right, there's some pretty amazing things that they can do with it.
For sure, yeah, and that's always the thing, though. Will they do it right? Like, the Wii had a lot of potential, and nobody did it right. But, we'll see. It's nice that they at least try to provide developers with a way to be creative, even if they don't always make the most of it. It's nice that there's somebody who's trying to move things along. Like, if it wasn't for Nintendo, we might not even have analog sticks on controllers right now. Like, most people don't realize their beloved DualShock controller is the result of Sony having to create something with analog sticks on it because the N64 controller had an analog stick on it, and everybody went, this is way better than using a plus pad. The original PlayStation controller didn't have analog sticks on it.
I remember. I was so used to using the plus pad that when I switched over to PlayStation 2, I would not use the analog controller.
Same here, Beck.
It was just, I'm like, I can't do this.
I always
Until
used
after
to play
the
with the
podcast,
D-pad.
Dragma.
Okay. But yeah, so it's really good that, you know, somebody is trying to actually innovate instead of making more of the same thing. And that's good. Probably the most interesting piece of information that we've heard in the past week or two about Nintendo is that they announced their new premium online gaming service, Nintendo Network, which is going to be the same type of thing as PlayStation Network and Xbox Live. So Nintendo fans can rejoice knowing that we're actually going to have a good online system for playing Metroid and other great multiplayer Nintendo games, provided they do another Metroid with multiplayer like Prime 2 Echoes. Hint, hint, Nintendo.
Oh god, I was so upset when Metroid Prime 3 didn't have multiplayer.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I was so upset. And they could have done it so well. I mean, you look at the Conduit. That was amazing. That was an amazing game with amazing multiplayer. You literally had to have the reaction time to play it.
And of course,
I think the funniest thing is that Conduit 2 came out and I didn't even know. I went to GameStop yesterday and found it for $15.
You didn't even know? I didn't even buy it.
I didn't even know it was released.
I did not even buy it because I bought the first one and I wasn't that excited by it. I didn't even beat it. So
I beat it. And I know how it ends and what's open at the end of it. So I was really intrigued by that. I didn't hear it. I mean, I don't watch much TV, so maybe it had commercials that I didn't know about. I did not even know it had come out.
Wow.
Yeah.
They didn't do a lot of advertising for it. It was a game I think that they were really ambitious about at first when they first announced it, and it was supposed to be so awesome, which you can kind of argue the same about the Conduit, and it didn't pan out. The Conduit didn't sell as well as they hoped it would, so I think they kind of just lessened their efforts a little bit on the sequel because they didn't expect much out of it.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's great about this, obviously, is it'll attract more third-party developers to actually make good games on a Nintendo platform, which we need desperately. I mean, the Wii is just a desert. There's like 10 or 15 good games on the Wii, and 99% of them are made by Nintendo. We really need third-party support on the next Nintendo console, and this is something that will definitely attract more developers. So that's great, and it's going to be on the Wii U and on the 3DS. It's coming out later this year. I would expect probably around the time that the Wii U actually launches, which is supposed to be in November or December. So, I mentioned the PlayStation Network. That is now being changed to the Sony Entertainment Network. It doesn't really affect you if you play on PSN. It's just a name change. They're not changing anything but the name. They're making it so that all of their devices will work on it, except notably the PlayStation Portable, which is just going to get shoved aside now that the Vita is about to come out. So, like, they want their TVs and their phones and everything else to be able to work on the same network. And this is a result of the work of, or the vision, rather, of new Sony CEO Kaz Hirai, who was previously the president of Sony Computer Entertainment, which is the division of the company that makes PlayStation products. He's taking over that post in a month or so, and he's already said that his vision basically to save Sony, which is in trouble right now, losing a lot of market share in all of the areas that they manufacture products. They need to start thinking more open-ended, and this is one way that they're going to do that. So, thinking outside the box. And that's all the news I have for this episode. Yeah. Anything anybody wants to comment on any of that?
No.
I just find it hilarious that the article I found on GamesBeat for the whole CEO switch actually is comparing the PlayStation Network to Watergate. Which amuses me. They called it no, actually it wasn't this article. I don't know which one it was. But they called it the PSN gate. Which amuses the hell out of me.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, nothing Sony does at this point. Even I don't even care. I'm very happy. It took me this long to figure it out, but I'm very happy to find out that they released Final Fantasy 13-2 on the Xbox. Because, to be perfectly honest, the only reason I would have even bought a PlayStation 3 is for the Final Fantasy games. Knowing that they're coming out on Xbox, I kind of care less at this point.
I still want a PlayStation 3 though, because Kingdom Hearts, all of the games came out for PlayStation 3, and I have an Xbox.
Well, the PlayStation, I think, is a better console than the Xbox is in terms of hardware. I wouldn't say it's way better, but it's better.
I cannot stand Xbox compared to PlayStation.
It has the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray is the primary reason why I bought mine. I mean, I got mine when Blu-ray first came out, because they came out at the same time, basically. Back then, a Blu-ray player was like $800, and the PlayStation was like $600, so it was still really expensive, but it still saved me money to buy it.
But that's a good deal, because you get the player and the games.
Exactly. So that was the reason why I bought mine. And I watch all my Blu-rays on it. I don't have a dedicated Blu-ray player, except like I have a Blu-ray drive in my PC, but I don't really watch movies on my PC. So
I do, because I don't have a TV big enough in my house that's connected to anything.
Like I use my PS3 way more to watch movies than I do to play games. But I do prefer generally games that come out on the PlayStation to those that come out on the Xbox. But the reality is, although the PlayStation has been doing a lot better, the Xbox has really picked up steam, and there is a larger install base on the Xbox 360 than there is on the PS3. So Square has been kind of forced to start developing their games on both platforms in order to make money on them. And I think that trend will continue. They might end up switching out of Sony entirely if their sales performance continues to drop with the next generation. And we don't even know what they're doing yet. They're still saying, we're going to stick to our 10-year plan. And that's not going to pan out. That is simply not going to pan out. This console is not going to last until 2016. Are you fucking kidding me? That's a delusion.
It won't be long before we're walking into a room that has a glass-esque floor, and then your UI on your PC pops up around you. Consoles will be extinct soon enough, I guarantee it. Because you could probably build a room like that. Now, there is one thing, I think it was Sony, actually, that is creating these, like, smart windows. It's basically a computer screen in the size of a pane of glass.
Was that Sony? Like CES or something?
Like, think all these futuristic shows like Minority Report where they have the screens that they move around and such. That's what I'm talking about. They're developing that now.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool tech that's being worked on behind the scenes.
It won't be long before we have these amazing computers that you just walk into a room and the whole room is your computer. It will not be long before we don't have use for consoles anymore. At the same time, as technology improves, and I am very much a PC gamer, I don't care for the consoles. I mean, for the money I just spent on my computer, I could have bought both consoles. But I don't have. But as technology gets better, we could now granted, the consoles are going to stay relatively static once they're released and go on, because there's no way to upgrade that stuff. But as technology progresses, we're going to end up having stuff that is produced on the top tier equipment just because it's not that hard to get anymore.
Yeah.
Still, I long for the day when we're releasing biocomputers. That's the way to go right there.
I mean, like, I've said before on this podcast that I'm primarily a PC gamer too. Anytime that there's a game that is released multi-platform and it's on the PC, I'll always buy the PC version because they're almost always better on the PC. And I typically prefer keyboard controls for stuff like first-person shooters over the dual stick controls, which are good too, but I like playing on the PC for sure. And I like the better graphics, I like the better performance that you typically get if you have a good rig, or actually that you always get if you have a good rig. I'll always buy Nintendo consoles because their games are exclusive to Nintendo consoles, and I like Nintendo games. I will probably buy a Sony console as long as they continue to have good RPGs released on them.
That's one thing they've done. Sony has pretty much always had the good RPGs.
Yeah. But as far as Microsoft goes, their consoles suck, I think. And the real reason why they've been successful in this part of the world is Xbox Live. That's what people like. And whatever, if you're a 13-year-old playing Call of Duty, calling somebody a faggot, then that's the place for you. But
faggot team killer.
It's not the place for me. So, yeah. That pretty much concludes the first part of the podcast, unless you guys have anything else you'd like to talk about.
Nothing to add here.
I got nothing.
I think we're gonna have to scrabble for WoW news.
There's nothing going on. There's some hot fixes, but yeah.
And
More-
this the second part of the podcast comes down to us
More
rambling.
heroic.
I think there is
definitely
one more thing we need to do, because we've really not included him other than saying hi, and nobody else said hi but me. Shame on you.
Didn't
I
I
thought
say
I did.
hi?
I
Antius,
might not have been pushing down the button.
What are you playing? What have you played this week?
I played Minecraft.
Minecraft?
Woo!
You kind of
What
derped
did
out
you
there
build?
for a second.
What have you built?
Derped out.
I have been leveling large desert lands to build Lucha Lane.
I feel like I should know what Lucha Lane is.
If you're a Diablo fan, you would definitely know it.
I'm
Okay,
not much
see,
of
I
a
haven't made
Diablo
it
fan.
very far into Diablo. Is that the second area?
The desert place, yes.
I thought so. Okay.
I've only ever played Diablo 2.
I did
once
play
I
a
found
small
out.
amount of Diablo. I bought it from Blizzard and downloaded it and figured out how to put it into windowed mode, and then just looked at it and kind of raged because the window is about 3 by 3 inches.
Oh, and also I've been playing Diablo with one of my friends, and we played the new expansion characters for Diablo 2, and Assassin is OP.
I
Like,
Anthony,
literally...
yes.
What, yes?
Did you even hear that I got into the D3 beta?
I heard.
Okay.
I'm mad. He got into the Diablo.
We're all
3 beta.
mad. We're all mad.
I could always just steal my friend's beta key.
Well, I'm still having fun with my Diablo 2 with my OP Assassin. I mean, I just walk into a room with my Shadow Clone thing and just have it kill everything for me.
I
And it has more health and does more damage than me. What is the point in doing anything anymore? I just wait
can't
for loot.
I can't look at those graphics anymore. They give me a headache. Definitely after playing D3, I won't be able to do it again.
I'm used to
You
the
want to
old
know what
graphics of
graphics
everything.
I love?
StarCraft 1s.
Yes, I love
Warcraft
StarCraft
1.
1. Graphics.
I can't live without my old games.
Warcraft 1 graphics for the win.
Well, don't get me wrong. Like, I
StarCraft
play a lot of old games. I play a lot of retro games, but I can't do it. It just looks so bad on the screen.
Hey,
It bugs me.
We'll continue discussing this after the break. We need to end part 1 here. We'll see you guys in a moment. Welcome back to Post Nerf Podcast. This is part 2, which was slightly delayed due to technical difficulties, aka we're not using that service provider anymore. So we have somewhat of an outline. We've so little to talk about. This is typically the part where we talk about WoW in general, and there's so little Blizzard-related news, let alone WoW-related.
I have some things to talk about, though.
Do you? Awesome.
But Vec can talk first.
So we're letting the StarCraft nerd talk about the patch. The noises. This kid is insane right now.
I'm more than
And I'm
insane.
the one who's been drinking Dr. Pepper. Caffeine makes me happy. You should stop doing that while we're recording the podcast.
There's so many mobs I just pulled out.
This is why I don't do anything when we're recording.
That's probably
I have
what this
to.
must
I have
do.
limited time.
Okay,
But yeah, please talk.
So I'm gonna talk now. This past Tuesday, patch 1.3 became 1.4.3 became live, and that patch had some serious balance.
It's
changes.
alive! It's alive!
The first one being the Phoenix up +2 range upgrade, and then the Terran Ghost nerf, and then the Mules do the same mine the
Do
same
the
amount.
thing with the thing and the thing with
They
the
mine the
stuff and
same
thing.
amounts from gold minerals as they do from regular mineral patches now, and so it's a buff for Protoss and a nerf for Terran, and you could kind of buff for Zerg because late game Zerg is better now because of the Ghost nerf. So yeah.
So what does that mean to the layman who really don't care? Does it mean anything?
Wait, does it mean anything to you? Well, since you guys don't play, no, it doesn't mean anything to you.
Except that you'll probably be spending more time on StarCraft.
No, I won't.
Oh wait,
actually.
you already spend all of your time on StarCraft.
It basically means it's good and bad. I don't know. I don't know what you were asking.
Okay, so to Terrans, QQ more. To
No.
Protoss and Zerg,
Yeah, kind of.
no
Yeah.
comment.
Yes. Protoss can't really say anything because they just keep getting buffed, and so.
Kind of like Paladins.
Hey! I don't accept that.
Well, you have to think about it. They are the Paladins of the StarCraft universe.
You know what? Paladins have been.
No. I'm talking about the general definition of a Paladin, all high and mighty, and
Oh.
yeah. Well, they are. You have to admit it. They are.
Whatever you
Protoss.
say.
Of course, I'm talking to the people who haven't even played the campaign.
Yeah.
Gah.
Well, I played half of it, and I played all of the Brood War campaign.
Oh, you should play all of it. Gah.
I just got
too,
bored.
Dragma.
I got really bored, and I just lost interest in.
That's understandable.
The campaign is boring.
I'll probably get back to it eventually, because like I did play like the first third, and then I got bored, and then a year later I played the second third, and then I got bored. So maybe I'll do the last third in a year after Heart of the Swarm is out already.
Yeah, and then you'll have to play that campaign. And then
Except I hate Zerg, so I probably won't.
Probably won't.
Then you'll have to play the
I will
Protoss
play it.
campaign
I will
when it-
play it for the storyline.
The Protoss campaign I will probably actually play because I do like the Protoss.
And then you'll have no clue what's going on because you haven't played the previous two campaigns. Oh wait, by that time you will have played the first
We'll have played the first one.
16th of the Zerg campaign. But yeah, okay. So, what news do we have elsewise in regards to Blizzard?
Well,
I think I had something. I have to find it.
in regards to Blizzard in general, there's the trademark issue between Blizzard and Valve for Dota.
That's what I was looking for.
And the first thing that I'm going to say, I've heard all over the internet people pissed off saying that Blizzard shouldn't be, quote, suing Valve, and Blizzard isn't suing anybody. All they're doing is disputing Valve's trademark application for Dota. They're not trying to trademark it themselves, they're not trying to sue anybody. They just don't want the trademark of Dota by Valve to go through. They want it to be a name that anybody can use. And personally, I think that's reasonable considering it originates from a Blizzard property, and Blizzard is making a game based on it as we speak. If Valve ends up getting this trademark for Dota, they can actually sue Blizzard for using Dota in their upcoming game Blizzard Dota, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So,
Besides that, I've heard that Dota 2 really isn't that great of a game. As I hear it, and I'm not going to give source because he's decently credible, but people will rage, and he's relatively new, as far as I could tell, to the YouTube scene. It's basically copy-paste from the original. There's a slightly better engine, significantly better graphics, but everything is the same. Like, everything. It's got all the same. It's got all the same heroes, with all the same balance issues, and there's just nothing new to it. So, I want to say if Blizzard does it right, they're probably going to make a better game with StarCraft Dota than Valve is with StarCraft 2, with Dota 2, StarCraft 2, lol. So, I definitely, there are going to be all kinds of issues with Dota, but I guarantee most of the people who are playing it probably going to go back to League of Legends. Probably.
Yeah, and like I mean, a lot of people are saying that Valve should get to do this because they hired one of the guys who worked on the original Dota mod, and it's a fair argument, but at the same time, when
I don't think it should go to a company though, so much as the people who worked on it. If anything like that's going to happen.
Well, and I mean, it's definitely a gray area because it's a mod of something, and you do sign a terms of use agreement. Or, well, not sign, but you agree to a set of conditions, you know, when you play the game and when you use their API for mods. I haven't actually read it, so I don't know exactly what it says, but I'm pretty sure they basically make it so that you don't have any rights in a situation like this. So I don't think Valve really has a leg to stand on, if you ask me, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the whole point is, people quit flipping out, hating on Blizzard, because they're not trying to steal anything from anyone. They're not trying to get the trademark themselves. They want it to stay open like it is now, so that anybody can make a Dota game. And I think that's fair.
I think that's I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So that's all.
But yeah,
I
mean, that's one thing I was happy to learn was when I was reading up on League of Legends originally, which was a good long time ago. I don't play it very much, but it was interesting to hear about it. And apparently, I don't know if it's the same person involved. I would think it wouldn't be. But apparently, one of the original creators of Dota was actually involved in League of Legends, which is why it's so much of a great game. I would want to say, because one of the creators had a great deal in it to do with it.
Yeah. My understanding is that the originator of the project ended up moving on to League of Legends, and he had passed the project on to the person that's now employed by Valve.
I see. Interesting.
But yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thing for Blizzard news.
We have anything else, though?
In terms of WoW, there's been some images leaked of yak mounts that are supposedly coming out in MoP.
K.A. Mr. Pandaria.
Yeah. And we don't know for sure if they're going to be the Pandaren racial mounts yet. Why am I hearing myself?
Probably that.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm hearing it from Pharaoh.
Anyway, we don't know for sure if they're going to be the Pandaren racial mounts, but they are going to be ground mounts in the game, which I think is cool. It's if they end up being Pandaren mounts, I would say that Pandaren will probably look pretty damn awkward riding them.
I would say so.
But at the same time, the yak is an Asian creature, so it makes a lot of sense to have it in the expansion, whether it's a racial mount or not.
Meh, they should all be riding Kirin. Which is both the name of an alcohol and a mythical creature from Japan.
I think that, I think that, they should be riding giant frogs.
Now that is an intriguing thought. That is very much an intriguing thought. Or just some kind of giant lizard. We don't really have a lizard mount unless you want to count the raptors.
They need to have Tanuki mobs that are tameable for hunters.
Yes.
That needs to happen.
They all look like Mario. Well, would you be okay if it was a kitsune instead of a tanuki?
It'd be better than nothing.
Of course, it would still be a multi-tailed fox, which means it would have all the abilities of a fox.
Yeah. But
still, the cool thing is, WoW has primarily been medieval fantasy.
Yes.
European medieval fantasy.
Yeah.
There's very little outside of that other than just structure designs, like in the Night Elf starting area. So they're kind of expanding their structural design, that word. But they really are opening themselves to a lot more concepts for the game. I'm looking forward to an Eastern style dragon, which we actually have now in the Heart of the Aspects mount.
Yes, which I was going to mention. Now you can buy that for $25, and that's probably what the base design for the new Drakes will be, which is awesome. I love it. I think it's the prettiest mount they've ever produced in this game, next to the Horny Drakes.
I'm just looking forward to like a gigantic Eastern style dragon as one of the major Shaw raid bosses. So that would be amazing.
Yeah. We'll probably get to see some really cool Asian-themed armor and weapons, too, I would imagine.
That would be amazing. Although, I will say right here and now that there really is no Asian plate, I don't think. I don't think there really are any Asian styles of plate, and correct me if I'm wrong, because
I don't know.
That would be it's going to be interesting to see how they do that, although the male armor could very well go the way of the samurai.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But
that would be interesting. A hunter just as a samurai.
I'd take it.
I'd take it.
Can you guys wield two-handed swords?
Yes, but
then you guys totally get a giant freaking katana.
That changes the Mist of Pandaria.
Oh, that sucks. Because a giant freaking katana with a hunter tier set that looks like a samurai would be amazing.
Yeah, we don't get melee weapons anymore in MoP.
This is true. I could still
which is
fit
good.
Just without the sword.
And speaking of hunters and MoP, they recently posted a revised version of the talent calculator on the website, which is live. They're still working heavily on it. The hunter side of things has changed a lot.
We need to try to make a habit of collecting links whenever we talk about stuff so that I can link them in the description.
Yeah. I've only looked at the hunter one so far. It's changed a lot, but it's still looking like primarily PvP-centric talents, which makes me angry.
Most of them really were, especially at BlizzCon. Almost everything I heard about was PvP-centric, or it seriously seemed... Now, granted, Mist of Pandaria is a very PvP-centric expansion, because there is no endgame boss. It's all about the Horde and Alliance fighting each other.
Well, I'm sure there'll be some sort of endgame boss. They just don't have a villain to put on the package.
Yeah.
Like
there will be an endgame boss. It'll probably be some kind of major Shaw overlord.
I'm personally hoping it's an old god, but...
Like all of the paladin ones are all like...
See, that's the thing. We have so little lore to even go tin hat on this. There's literally nothing to work with as far as figuring out what's going to happen with that. Because, I mean, all we know is they're shrouded in mystery and they've been at peace for thousands of years. Because the only time anything evil shows up is when aggression comes into the world. And then the Shaw starts showing up and killing people.
It's
I'd be
probably
willing
gonna be
to
like
bet that they're tied to the old gods somehow, the Shaw.
yeah. They're probably like the old gods would probably be like hiding out in Pandaria or something.
Maybe just like inflections of an old god, because he can only extend his power out when there's conflict or something like that. Maybe that I could understand. Very, very good question, though.
Forward to seeing how that plays out, and I think that opening things up and having more world PvP is an excellent decision, but at the same time, designing talents so that they're almost all PvP talents is not a smart decision.
Especially when they're completely redoing the talents anyway.
Yeah.
Because now we have nothing to fall back on. Now I'm looking at my stuff, and I'm kind of depressed at the fact that all of my early stuff is all of my level 15 stuff is PvP or Shadow Priest centric, which is shitty. But I am seeing a decent amount of stuff. I'm liking the fact that Archangel and Desperate Prayer are staying in there. They still have Power Infusion.
Aren't they doing
Vow
something
of Unity
to,
looks pretty interesting.
Atonement or whatever?
Atonement. I don't even know. I haven't really had much time to look at it. We still have Evangelism. So, I don't know what's going to happen with that.
And I should say, too, that, they're still in alpha for MOP. So, all this stuff has a long way to go before it's final. And they're just posting it to get feedback from people.
It looks like Evangelism is going to be a passive ability of Disc Priests at this point. And maybe Shadow Priests. But I doubt it. Well, we get Dark Evangelism as Shadow Priests, so I guess that's what we would get. Kind of looking for it. But it'll definitely be interesting to see what they do in the end.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't like the talents because it's just so eh.
Eh.
Yeah, it's eh.
It's that's funny. Yeah, it's definitely a bit off the wall for Blizzard, because some of this stuff, it's really hard to even tell what's going on.
Like for Paladin, my 15 and 30 ones are all PvP. Like the 15 ones are movement speed and 30 are stuns. And I haven't looked at like any of the other ones.
Well, you do have Repentance. You do have Repentance, which is a very, very often used
yeah.
CC, which will still be necessary for PvP.
So I'm actually looking at them now, because I decided to look at them, see what the rest of them were, but
like the movement speed could be used for PvP as a Rep Paladin, just to dodge damage.
Yeah.
As well as Pursuit of Justice. It's very interesting that both of those are movement, but you do have the Judgment increase too.
Well, see, one of the things that they are doing is in every tier you're going to get 3 choices that all accomplish the same basic thing but do it in different ways. So you'll have like a tier for movement speed, and then you'll have a tier for damage, and then you'll have a tier for crowd control.
So they're just basically trying to give you more choice, but
exactly.
I don't think they should. I think the way that they're changing the talent system is just, I don't like it.
Well, I can kind of understand if they're trying to give us specific things, but it's just odd. It's just odd the way they're doing it.
The whole idea...
And hopefully that'll iron out. What'll probably happen is it'll hit beta, and then people will express their concern with the talents. Seriously.
Yeah.
And that's when they'll really start taking it seriously, because if the talents work right and are liked, they'll keep them. If they work right and aren't liked, but if they're not working and they're not liked, then they're going to remove them and fix something.
The whole idea behind the change was to eliminate this concept that we have now of cookie cutter specs where everybody uses the same spec. And if you don't, you're an idiot. They don't want that in the game anymore. They want everybody to be able to perform equally by making their own choices and having their own play style.
Which makes sense. I know there really are a lot of cookie cutter specs out there. I'm finding a little bit more diversity in the healing specs, because there are like three different ways to do a disc healing spec that work. And I haven't tried any of the others. I haven't even really looked into them, but I keep hearing about them via Twitter and some of the other priests I've followed. So it's very interesting. I need to eventually look into them. But by the time I get a chance to, that's going to change.
Personally, I love the concept. I think that they're on the right track. But the way they're doing it, like you say, is kind of strange. I don't like that there's only 6 tiers, I think it is. It feels
Yeah.
too simplified. And I think that's the main issue that most people are having with it. We like having more talents. And it felt like they simplified it in Cataclysm, and now they're just overly simplifying it. I think the way it is now works quite well. If they just had, even if it was as simple as adding more tiers and getting more talent choices over the course of leveling, people might be happier with it.
Yeah. That's because they're just taking away all of the talents now and just adding new abilities that you can choose from. So it's not really even. It's not really that.
It'd be
much of
very
it.
nice to have Body and Soul in a disc spec, though. Say
I'm
that
sure
right
it
now.
will be.
Wow, they're giving Flash of Light to Shadow Priests, making Mind Blast an instant cast every once in a while. Anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of interesting information there, and you know, if y'all played the game, if you want to look at it, I highly recommend taking a good solid look at your talents, because I think these have even changed since BlizzCon on mine. So I think I'm gonna probably go watch Trade Chat's Priest talents video. I haven't done that yet, and I actually was meaning to. And I'm not going to really say anything more on that because I don't know if it's going to be good or not, so I'm not going to recommend it. Have we heard anything at all? Is there any news in general about maybe Diablo 3 at all? Anything new?
I haven't checked up on
I
it
haven't even.
lately. Let me.
They've been
Agma, do you-
updating the beta. I think it's been updated a couple times in the past 3 weeks or so.
They-
just slight changes to the systems, basically.
They added the chat things too, which is something that people have been really wanting. So
I haven't
Yeah, because a lot of
actually-
people have been playing the beta in multiplayer.
I haven't been on the beta in a couple weeks. I actually meant to play it every week and stream it, and I haven't been doing that because I've been really busy with other stuff, but I did hear about some beta changes. It's really close to being released. And they did say officially, I don't know if we mentioned this before at the investors call, that it is coming out in Q2 of this year, so...
they originally promised Q1.
Yes. But I can't see it being pushed back any further because it really is, like, if you play the beta,
It's a pretty damn good game. Just from watching,
Yeah.
Dragma play it that one time. So much for streaming it.
But yeah.
But yeah.
But no, but yeah.
But
Yes,
no,
no,
but-
yes, no, maybe so. Trying to think if there's anything else to go on. Back in regards to WoW, more on a personal note, we've successfully done our transfer, and we're still struggling. We are taking open recruitment now, and that to reference, obviously, this is Doomhamers Legacy.
On Monk.
God, I don't even know what kind of pictures I'm going to be putting up to fill this in. I have no idea. I don't know. But yeah. Open recruitment, primarily for raiding. I mean, the entire reason we left Cairn was because the raiding scene over there was terrible. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get a group together relatively soon and can start streaming again. We're doing that here and there. Back when we changed between like 4 different channels.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I just want to say the rating scene on Mugthal is a lot better, and the server in general is a lot better. I've found myself at home here. People are generally nicer, less trolly.
Hey, no,
than they
I
are on
got
Cairn.
threatened to be put on Reddit.
Oh, that's funny.
Well,
that's so funny.
Unfortunately, there's idiots everywhere you go. You can't fully escape them. But I think that Mugthal has far fewer idiots than Cairn does, or at least they're not as vocal.
Which is enough.
Yeah.
Just having them not scream anal all the time, which I have unfortunately seen crop
I've
up in
seen it
all
too.
chat.
Yeah.
I guess it's everywhere.
It is.
Of course it's
It's a
But
disease.
we'll just have to deal with that. Yes, anal is a disease.
Um,
Oh gosh. I
But I
just
mean-
figured that one out.
even just the fact that there's so many more people on the Horde side here, and so many more max level characters here, it seems like it should be a lot easier to do anything being a Horde guild.
True dat.
But
That, and we will find out. We will find out
I mean,
tonight
we've
in like 2.5 hours.
yeah, like we've been here for a week. We have yet to pick up a new guild member, despite our efforts of trying to recruit, and we had a failed pug. We pugged for over an hour last Saturday night, and we're not able to fill the group. We started with a half group.
I think we got one person, and then one
We
person
got-
left. Had
We
two
had
people
two
and one
people.
left.
I thought we got 3 people, but one of them left.
We weren't.
Did we get 3?
We were full on everything except for healers. All that we had left was the 2
Oh.
healers that we needed, and we couldn't get them.
Yeah, we did get 2 melee.
So, and that it could be that it's just too late in the week to be doing it. It could be that we just had some bad luck, but we've only done it once, so we got to keep trying.
It didn't hurt us that we were starting the raid at Hagara.
That is-
too, yeah. People tend to want to start with a fresh run unless they have a specific boss that they want to do, but I did notice a lot of people were already locked to the raid. But anyway, if you are on Mugthal, or if you are thinking of transferring off your current server and you need a raiding guild that doesn't have strict requirements for recruits, like achievements and stuff like that, you might want to check us out. And you can visit our website at dhlegacy.guildportal.com.
Good job. We recently changed the domain, so
Yeah.
yeah. The only thing we really ask for is that you have your gear, 378 to 380 item level, and that you have the majority of your enchants and gems. As long as we're content that you're competent enough to get your stuff together, then we're set. Of course, we would like if you'd completely cleared Dragon Soul Raid Finder, which no one really has an excuse to have not done at this point.
Yeah. If you're, thinking about raiding, but you've never done it before, and you're scared or whatever, just do Raid Finder, because it's exactly the same as a 5-man, just with more people.
And you can go AFK and come back to the boss being down.
Unfortunately, this is true. Don't make a habit of it. Don't make a habit of it.
I try not to.
Not you, them.
The reason why we want people to have the 8 out of 8 Raid Finder experience is because that shows...
Hate explaining fights.
Yeah, and I mean, there are some differences between normal and Raid Finder, but at least you know the basic idea of the fights if you've done them on Raid Finder. It also shows that you kind of know how a raid works, because Raid Finder gives you a basic idea, it's just it doesn't have the organization that a real raid does when you're in Mumble and you've got a raid leader that's telling you exactly what to do and you do it. But it just overall shows that you are interested in raiding and you're trying your best to get good gear and everything else. So it's really so easy to do and actually enjoyable, in my opinion. I like doing it.
Indeed,
So do
rating is awesome. I see. I do actually want to. I do want to broach on another subject as far as just WoW in general. And I think I just figured out what I'm gonna put up on the video. Remember that fraps I did of you chasing Antheus? Or Antheus chasing you, or whatever it was? I think I'm just gonna loop that throughout the video. of you just running in a circle on your Scorpion.
Oh, me. Okay.
I'm like, I don't remember that. It must have been Dragma.
Thought amuses me. I just want to say a lot of people are talking about how easy the game is now. It's so easy to level. Oh my god, it doesn't take anything. Well, I just want to line out what I've decided in regards to that. And that is that the game doesn't start until you're max level. I'm getting all serious face looking at my screen like you can see me. The game doesn't start until you hit max level.
I'm sorry, but I had this image of like Farrell like taking off his glasses and like looking into the camera.
I think you need to do that in a video.
I should one of these days. I should. I need to find out a reliable way to record my camera, actually. I can't record 2 windows at once with Fraps. But I think I can record the capture window from the program that came with my camera. So, we'll see. But I'm serious. I'm not going to repeat myself again. There's a lot of fun to be had in solo questing. There is. People do it because they actually want to play solo. There are some weirdos out there that actually like to play this game without interacting with anyone. Why would you play an MMO like that? Honestly.
Play Star Wars if you like that. It's more geared towards solo play.
It's got more story. Play Mass Effect.
Isn't
That was an
Final Fantasy
amazing game.
14 geared towards solo play too?
Final Fantasy 14 is a terrible game. It's unplayable. And I can tell you that from personal experience. You can't. It's fucking. It is the stupidest thing I have ever seen. And now that they're charging money for it, you should definitely not play it.
Well,
Did it start free to play?
It was free to play for like the first 4 or 5 months because it was so terrible, and they've been trying to fix it, but it's still terrible.
Why is it so terrible? I've never played it. But...
Graphical issues, I think, primarily.
Well, it has performance issues. It has beautiful graphics, but even if you're running a state-of-the-art machine and you run it on max, it will have frame rate issues just because it's a poor engine. And they've been trying to fix that, and I haven't played it for a couple months, but when I played it, it was absolutely terrible. The game system is the stupidest thing ever. Like, I don't even know how to explain it to you. You just have to see it. It is so stupid.
I love when Dragma first tried it. He came into Vent and he got off Vent saying, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna try Final Fantasy 14. Wish me luck." 10 minutes later, he's like, "That game sucks."
You can't even, like, start. It's so stupid. Like, I did, like, the first little boss fight in the little introductory area, and I was like, okay, how does this even work? Like, what is happening to me? I don't even know how to explain it, seriously. You just have to see it
I
for
need to
yourself.
watch a video of this now because I...
Dragma should stream it.
Yeah!
That would be amazing.
I'm seriously, now that they're charging
if it
money
costs,
for it, I'm
though,
never
it's not
doing
worth it. It's not worth doing an exhibition of this game if you have to pay for it just to play 20 minutes of it. But back to my rant. The game really, I mean, this is very much a social game. The community at the surface can really, really be just absolute assholes. I will say that.
That's
I will.
just people,
I don't care.
man. Seriously.
But the game, I mean, you don't get to the good stuff until you've actually gotten to max level. You can't raid. Nobody's doing the old raids. You can't do the major dungeons. You can't get any of the raiding or battle. You can't get any of the PvE or PvP achievements until you're max level. This game is entirely built around you being at the max level with decent gear. And while that can be a detriment to it at some points, saying that it's a bad game because it's too easy to level is a piece of shit. Because how else are these people going to even get into the game and find out what's going on? I guarantee people always complain because it's so easy to level, I don't get to learn the class. Well, first of all, if you're going to raid, you're going to read up on the class anyway. Second of all, if it's your very first tune in the game, you are very quickly going to learn what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And if you do it wrong enough times, someone's going to tell you you're doing it wrong. If you get to 85 with Dragon Soul level gear and you're still doing it wrong, you obviously are doing something right. That's completely contradictory, but you get my point. Obviously, you're doing something right, because otherwise you're not going to get to that without someone having told you, oh, you're doing it wrong, here's what you do, or you having figured it out yourself.
Yeah, WoW players are usually pretty vocal. When they see somebody being a retard, they'll tell you. They don't really worry about hurting your feelings.
People, but
See, I usually tell people before they tell me to fuck off.
You usually tell them in the worst ways, though. Mostly mocking.
I admit,
some cussing.
Okay. You weren't there when that DK was just being a dick to me.
Oh, but yeah, go ahead.
The leveling game is definitely designed to teach you how to play the game. It's not meant to be the challenging part of it. It's always easy, even when you're doing it the first time, unless you're handicapped. But when you are doing it after the first time and you're using heirlooms is when it's really quick. Like, it's not that quick when you don't have looms.
Mm-hmm. And let's just explain this concept to those who aren't really familiar with it. We have these things called heirlooms. They are pieces of gear that actually give experience bonuses to the character. If you're not in a guild, when you get to max level, you have the opportunity of buying shoulders and chest pieces, as well as weapons that don't actually give a experience bonus. But these items scale as you level. They're the best equipment in the game at low levels. And they cost somewhere around 6,000 justice points and or honor, I want to say. I'm going to say that. I'm going to go with that number.
Yeah. That's right.
Probably about 7,000.
The guild ones cost gold.
Guild ones cost gold. The guild ones are a cloak and a helm that also give a decent amount of experience. And in fact, I think it was the helm that had its experience bonus increased, because they both only gave 5% experience. If you have all four, you're getting a bonus of 35% experience. And if you're in a guild with the perk, you get another 10%. That's 45% more experience that you could be getting. So it is a significantly increased gain. You get this increase from killing monsters, from gathering, which you actually get experience on now, as well as from every single quest you do. The basic experience bonus that you would get from the quest is then increased by that 45%. So the people who are complaining about the leveling game being so hard, these are the people who are getting that 45%. And they are literally face rolling this.
And
it's so easy.
The whole point of that is that you're not doing it the first time then. So, and I don't think anybody wants to be leveling an alt, like say you're in a raid and the raid leader goes, okay, we need a chamois heals, and you go, okay, I'm going to level a chamois heals for the raid. No one wants to spend 2 months doing that. They want to do it quick, and that's why heirlooms and the other bonuses exist.
And there we go. I mean, 2 months. It does take a while to get from 1 to 85 without anything. Guarantee it. It will take you a while to get there.
It took me a year to level my mage and about a year and a half to level my paladin.
But that was a long time ago, though.
That was a while ago. They have significantly buffed the experience game recently. In fact, they increased it, I believe, in Wrath recently.
But I didn't level my paladin.
So we've got
until,
significant experience stuff. Well, okay, there you go. You're just slow. Also, you have to deal with school and.
It took me longer to level my paladin, and there was the experience buff, whatever.
I don't know what that says about you, Vec.
I don't either.
When I leveled my hunter, which was the first tune I leveled on this account, and that was during Wrath, I probably spent 2 to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, maybe a bit more on the weekends, and it took me maybe 2.5 months to do it.
I took my
So it shouldn't even take you that much time now starting up. But guarantee, if it takes you 2 months to get from 1 to 85, you're going to know what you're doing, relatively. Yep. And if you have the interest enough to raid, you're going to know that there are videos out there to help you figure out the fights. You're going to want to seek out the information. And while seeking out the information for raiding, you're going to realize that there are resources to help you with your class too. You're going to read something that says, oh, I'm not doing this. This is something I'm doing wrong, and this could greatly increase my DPS, HPS, or threat. I should do this. It's... My point is, to all the people who are hating on the nerfs to leveling, shut up. It's not made for you. It's made for that guy sitting, 3 blocks down at his laptop who just bought the game. It's amazing how many whiners we have in this community. And most of them are on the forums.
It's just people. People are generally assholes, and people are generally whiners.
Which is why you should come join us, because we are neither.
Nerf
and if we are,
it.
I boot people to the QQ More channel.
Oh.
Like, I seriously see no difference between the types of people you see in WoW and the types of people you see in the real world. It's the exact same thing. It's just people tend to think they can get away with more on the internet because it's sort of anonymous, so they might be a little bit more extreme, but...
Yeah. Yay, anonymity of the internet. Trust me, we've kind of given up on that. At least I have. I've been doing way too much on the internet recently to have any anonymity left. Heck, I use my real picture and my character name on Twitter.
Me too.
Which of course has my real name attached to it.
I don't have a Twitter.
Yes, you do.
I think I do.
Yes, you do.
I just don't ever use it.
In fact, if you ever used it, you'd show up on the Twitter widget we have on the guild site.
Oh, well,
I'll have you in the list.
I never show up because on the rare occasion I do tweet, it's always a retweet or something.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Twitter fan, but yeah. The whole
I'm just going
anonymity
to go ahead
thing,
and
I'm not
admit
a fan
at this
of.
point we're kind of just throwing filler in here. We had a decent plan last week, but our mumbles started derping on us because there were issues with the service provider. And so plans have been thrown out the window.
There was never much to talk about, though. There just hasn't been a lot going on.
We're definitely going to do a little bit of a reformat with the podcast. I think next week for this. I think in general we're probably going to do most of our gaming related news in the first half, like we have been, and then probably go do kind of a roundtable by the just kind of do a roundtable thing. I mean, we'll have, I guess, 4 topics every week, and if we don't have 4 people to bring them, we'll bring 2 of our own or something. But we're definitely going to reformat the second part because we're not doing as well when we did better when we were going 2 hours of recording at a time, I think, but we'll deal with that. Anyway, we should have more stuff coming up on the YouTube, potentially on the Twitch, very shortly. I had some issues with my recording of Portal 1, but I will finish my Portal 1 playthrough in 2 more episodes. Because I literally recorded for 48 minutes, I think. And I unfortunately had to scrap it because near the end in the battle with Gladys, the audio was seriously messed up. So I will be splitting those up into 2 separate recordings, and that will happen very shortly. As well as more of my Minecraft Let's Play, which I'm just doing a terrible job at this. I really am. But hopefully we'll have some more coming from other sources fairly soon. We don't know what's going on with Serrano. I haven't even talked to him. I need to get in touch with him. But we should have more on Twitch too. We had a StarCraft 2 tournament recently, in which Vec got slaughtered mercilessly in the final round.
It wasn't.
And it was really merciless. No, it was mercilessly.
They were close game.
No, it was mercilessly. It was mercilessly. Zergling Rush. That was really so... Actually, no, it was Dragma's fight that was painful to watch.
Don't remind me.
I think that was against you.
Me and Dragma?
Back, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
me
that was
and Dragma.
that one. Yeah. Oh God. Not to mention you slaughtered me in the first round. That was just sad.
Honestly, it was poorly designed, the way that people were matched up.
Yeah. Which we are working on.
You and
kind of
I,
randomized
Pharaoh,
it,
should have been fighting each other. That would have been more evenly matched.
That's one thing we are definitely going to redo it. We are going to start doing it publicly, and what we're going to do is we're going to take people from unlisted up to gold ranking, no platinum. We don't have anyone in our group that's even ranked in platinum. I
thought Fluffy was.
One person, but I think we decided we were going to only go up to gold.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to split the actual ranking as far as the tournament goes between unlisted to bronze and silver and gold. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the names, sort them as needed as far as listing, and then we will randomize that in 2 separate lists and then set them up so that the winner in the bronze will eventually go against I don't know, we're still probably going to have to work on that because we've got to find some way to balance it in the final match. Maybe have a bronze tree that eventually works its way into the silver and gold, so that best of the bronze ends up fighting the best of some of the silver and gold. Maybe just the silver players.
Yeah. Or we could have like a loser's bracket, and then the winner of the loser's bracket faces like the winner of the whatever, and we'll figure it out.
We'll figure something out. But we're looking forward to that, and I'm sure Valorous Demise will work very hard on getting that set up.
Yes,
which is, of course, our internal StarCraft 2 group. But besides that, we should have some more coming out on Twitch. I am potentially going to start doing my Minecraft Let's Plays on Twitch. I will start and stop the stream in about 20 to 30 minute intervals so that I can actually upload those directly to YouTube. This may or may not involve my face being on the stream. I don't know, since I'm going to be uploading it directly to YouTube. But we'll see what happens there. But we do have more stuff coming. We are working very hard on For Cairn's Sake, which is our charity event, and I'm not going to go into that. I do want to make a video explaining that eventually. I have grand ideas, grand ideas, including an Addams Family parody, which I want to work on. That will make it onto YouTube as soon as I'm finished with it and can actually convince people to sing along with me.
I'll do it.
But I think Dragma should actually play the tune out for us. That would be cool. Of course, he'll have to learn the tune because he doesn't even know what the Addams Family is.
Oh yeah.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Oh god, I just laughed in tune with it.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
I just laughed in tune with that song. So there's something seriously wrong with me.
That's funny.
Yeah. But I love it. I love this concept because when you get to the part where they say the Addams Family, it fits. It fits. Doomhammer's Legacy fits in here. So I'm trying. Eventually, I'm going to get this. I'm gonna find the lyrics or just listen to them and try to fit it all in there. Fit something else in there. Hopefully not gonna have any of the original song in there. I'll be happy with that. Although they're creepy and they're kooky would actually kind of fit with us.
Not me.
Mysterious and spooky.
I am mysterious.
Altogether
and spooky,
ooky. I think Vet covers. I think Vet covers ooky.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what ooky means. But I don't know, guys. Anything else to add? I'm out. I'm dry.
Glaven.
Glaven. Indeed, my good sir.
I'll be right back, guys.
What the hell was that? That was the sound of somebody blowing into a bottle.
At least it's not a tin whistle. Yeah. got nothing.
All right. Well,
I'm out. I guess we'll stop here. 52 minutes. Relatively
Well,
52 minutes. I'm sure you've got like 48. You didn't start as quick as I did.
Yeah. Well, thank you to everybody who listened. And,
I should have just frapped myself standing here in org or something.
we'll be back.
See you next time on Post Nerf Podcast.